Bowl game. Lots of projections out there. Let's go through them. ESPN got the Sooners playing in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, which will be on Tuesday, December 27th in Phoenix. ESPN's got them playing Wisconsin. CBS and Sports Illustrated both have the Sooners in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, but they've got them playing Maryland. Action Network, also Guaranteed Rate Bowl for the Sooners versus Wisconsin. 24/7 Sports has the Sooners playing Arkansas in the Texas Bowl. That's December 28th in Houston. And then The Athletic has, and this is the only one I've seen that has OU in the Cheez-It Bowl, playing Florida State. That game is in Orlando on December 29th. Now, before we get to call your shot, where we ask the listeners, what bowl game do you want? What opponent do you want? And why? What do we want, man? It's got to be Guaranteed Rate. That's what we want, right?
We want Guaranteed Rate. That's it. We want to go to Phoenix.
We want to bring our golf clubs.
We want to take the clubs. I personally would prefer to play Wisconsin. I've got a friend on that staff. Outside of that, I guess there's not much of a preference. I think Wisconsin is a better name to possibly notch a win against than Maryland. Does it really matter? No. I think the timing of it is fine. It's after Christmas. You know, you can enjoy Christmas here, and then for the fans, head out to Phoenix. It's an easy flight. There's a bunch of direct flights nonstop to Phoenix through Southwest. Really easy to get there. That, to me, it's the no-brainer.
Yeah, the question for you and I becomes, when do we go?
Right.
Because normally, and when we were playing, like, you're used to, hey, you're gone on Christmas. Typically, like if you're playing in a solid bowl game, you're gone. Like even, back in the BCS era, like you'd be gone on Christmas sometimes. But I don't want to miss Christmas for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Right. Like I've got my son. I don't want to miss Christmas. So I'm wondering how OU's going to handle it. Right. The players now. One thing I want to make very clear. I feel like there's this notion that it's like, oh, well, OU will just show up the day before the game and play. It's like, that's not how this works, man. There's a lot of people that work really, really, really hard year round to put on these bowl games. And while I don't necessarily care about their feelings, I do think you have a bad season by OU standards, you go 6-6. You can't act like you're better than going to the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. That's what you earned, man. So you're going to show up, you're going to smile, you're going to be appreciative of all the effort that these people and a bunch of those volunteers have put in. That's how you operate. You are not, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl is not beneath you. It is what you earned. Okay? So you're going to show up for the full week of events. You're going to smile. You're going to like it. You're going to tell them the food is awesome. That's how it's going to be.
Yep. Yeah, and I think you're contractually obligated too. That's like, if you accept the bowl bid, I don't think you decide when you show up into town. I think the package is already set. There'll be a handful of events. Obviously, the bigger the bowl game, the bigger the events, and the longer you're there. But yeah, I imagine they'd be there for probably 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, and you're going to get up there when the bowl wants you to do, when you've got the joint dinner with the other team and it turns into the dance off. Guess what? You're getting up there and you're shaking your moneymaker. Okay. Like you can still have fun. I know the season was really, 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 really disappointing, but don't let that shape your attitude when it comes to how you treat those people that are putting the bowl game on. Like that's not how this works. Handle it the way that you should handle it when you play at OU, right? And that's that's just where I'm at with it. That being said, I really hope they take a staff plane down on the 26th because I would like to hop on that one.
Well, again, that's the good thing about playing in Phoenix is it's not hard. It's not hard to get a flight out there, an easy flight out there. Maybe it'll be a little bit more difficult around that time of the year. But there should be plenty of easy options to get out there. Instead of like, if you don't want to go out there with the team so early and all that stuff. But yeah, that's my pick. I guess I don't know where it was, but there may be a chance, and I don't think it'll happen, but is it the First Responders Bowl that's in Fort Worth?
Yeah.
I think there's maybe a chance of that bowl too, which that bowl game is on the 22nd. So that would be an easy yes on that one.
I would like to formally accept the First Responder Bowl bid for the University of Oklahoma. Yeah, that would be, I feel like we'd have to get passed up by quite a few games, which I know it's been a disappointing season, but Oklahoma is still a very big brand that travels extremely well to bowl games. So we'd have to get passed up by quite a few people, right? To go to that one.
I don't think that's going to happen. But I did hear someone mention it. I think one of them that is not on this list that has potential would be the Liberty Bowl. And I know on here, 247 Sports has us playing Arkansas in the Texas Bowl. I think a more likely scenario may be Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl. But who knows? What do I know?
Yeah. I think the podcast's official vote, which does not matter one bit, is the Guaranteed Rate Bowl versus Wisconsin.
Yep.
Okay. We'll see. Sunday. We'll know Sunday, right? We'll know Sunday. All right, let's get to call your shot. We asked you guys what bowl game and what opponent do you want for the Sooners and why? This first one comes from @T-Town Sooner, who says Wisconsin in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Good matchup for OU. The reason I picked that one, we sure it's a good matchup. Do you think our buddy T-Town Sooner is aware? And I know there's some rumors that Braylon Allen's going to hop in the transfer portal. There's a lot of rumors he's going to go to USC. There's some rumors he might go to Michigan, which would be a disaster for Wisconsin. But Luke Fickell just took that job. I'm sure he is lobbying Braylon Allen very hard to stay a Badger. We sure it's a good matchup with their 6'2", 240-pound running back? We sure?
No, which I don't even know what is a good matchup for, like, what would you select as a good matchup for Oklahoma trait-wise on an opposing team? I don't know what that is. I've seen us get beat through the air, seen us get beat on the ground. I've seen us get beaten special teams. I've seen us get stagnated offensively by good defenses and not so good defenses. I don't know what the great matchup for us would be, because typically, at least this is my opinion of it, the most difficult opponent for us this year has been the University of Oklahoma. So,
yeah. I hear you. All right, this other one comes from @widget_Brian. He says Liberty Bowl and Ole Miss, or Texas Bowl and Arkansas. Either way, an SEC opponent. Also, the storylines with the Oklahoma ties would be good. I don't want to play Wisconsin because they are going through a transition. Huh. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know.
I would like to play Wisconsin if they're going to have a bunch of guys jump in the transfer portal and not have their full team, because beating Wisconsin looks and sounds good.
Yeah. I honestly don't know and I don't think anyone knows like how a transitioning team is going to respond. You can look to examples of a transitioning team responding really well, and the interim guys, the guys that are running the bowl game, are it's a job interview, I guess, for lack of a better term. Other times they've got other stuff going on, and it's just like a secondary deal that they are forced to kind of do and finish while they've got the majority of their attention elsewhere. So I don't know. It's hard to know how a team would respond to that.
Yeah, I think all you have to do is, and I know Oregon was going through a transition last year as well, but transitioning Oklahoma played pretty well in the Alamo Bowl.
Played great.
So let's be careful what we wish for there.
Right.
I'm just saying, this last one, I just love this one. It comes from @FetchMyBeer on Twitter, who says, whichever one we have the best shot of winning, with early entries and transfers and everything else, it's more important to get win number 7 than it is to get it against a respectable opponent. I love that.
That is definitely true. All right. Who you look back on and say we beat this year in the bowl game ultimately does not matter. What matters is you need to beat them and secure the winning season streak since what, 98? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good way of looking at it. Fetch my beer. Right. I appreciate that perspective.